Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
There's a drive into right field. Is this enough to win the game? It is! Home run, Scooter Gennett. Reds win 9-7. Celebration big time at home plate after the Gennett home run and extra frames last night. And for the first time all year long, the Reds have won consecutive games. They try and make it 3 in a row here tonight, hosting the Atlanta Braves with one more to go tomorrow on a beautiful night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. Hi again, everybody. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Brian Giesenslaw, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. All right, you think about the big things, the performance by Malley last night, the home run by Gennett, but I know in this series it's been some of the small ball, the smaller parts of the game that have caught your eye.
Well, I think, Tom, that in any sport you play, especially in baseball, aggressiveness, tenacity, take the fight to the other team, and sometimes it can start with just one player. And I think that's where you're seeing the Reds make some transition, at least here in the last couple of ball games. On Monday night, what a play by Adam Duvall. I mean, a long way to come. Shortstop can't get there. Third baseman can't get there. He dives under the feet of a guy in Jose Peraza. That's a great play. That lights a fire under the guys that are at your ballpark and on your club. That play right there, it gets through Votto's legs, but who's there to pick him up? Well, Scooter Gennett. Watch Duvall here. A ground ball to a Gold Glove center fielder in left center field. We talked about this yesterday, but that is a hustle play. That's taking the fight to the other team. I think that lights a fire among all of the guys that are in your dugout. You have tenacity. It increases your awareness on the field. That's a perfect bunt. You're waiting for something to happen, and it allows your manager to make something happen. But if you're not aware of it and you're not fighting for it, it's not going to happen. And late in the game yesterday, the Reds took the fight to the Braves.
We'll see if they can do that for a third straight night here tonight. All right, the left-hander Brandon Finnegan began the year on the disabled list. Cowboy, he makes his third start. What have you thought through the first two?
I think the ball's been all over the place. And I think if Brandon Finnegan is going to be successful, as we've seen in years past, he's got to be able to control the fastball. He's got to get the ball down in the strike zone. That way it makes his changeup and breaking ball that much more effective. Only he can control that.
The number one ranked player in all of minor league baseball last year was Ronald Acuna Jr. He was just called up today. He's in the lineup making his major league debut.
Well, I can assure you he can hit BP, because I watched him today hit 4 consecutive, out of right, out of left, and out of dead center. And then the last one went down the right field line. He can swing it.
All right, we'll see how it goes for him tonight in his major league debut, the youngest player in the major leagues. We'll check in with Brian Giesenslaw. When we return, you're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
I'm Local 12 News meteorologist John Gum. All right, let's go for 3 in a row tonight, shall we? Third game of this series against the Braves. Right around 62 by the first pitch this evening. We'll fall into the upper 50s. There's a slim chance for a brief passing shower over the ballpark early in this one until the sun sets. Otherwise, skies become partly cloudy. Should be a good night for baseball in Cincinnati. Enjoy the game right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, the Reds have had a little rotation at third base since Eugenio Suarez was hurt, but Alex Blandino has started 5 of the last 6 games and has hit in 4 straight. Blandino starts there again tonight in Game 3 of this series against the Braves. Welcome back inside the ballpark. I'm Brian Giesenslaw. The Braves come into this series. They came in leading the National League in runs scored, leading the National League in batting average, but some of the guys who helped them attain those marks before they got to Cincinnati have cooled off some since they got to Great American Ballpark. Ryan Flaherty's not in the lineup tonight. He's been 0 for through the first 2 games of this series. Same goes for Ozzie Albies. Dansby Swanson with 1 hit so far, but our Elk and Elk storyline is that so far the Reds and the Reds pitching staff have done nice work against some of the big bats in the Braves lineup. Can it continue tonight? Well, 2's great. 3 would be much better. The Reds try to take their first series of the season. First pitch coming your way next.
Young came over, of course, from Kansas City in the Johnny Cueto deal. Began the year on the disabled list tonight, his 3rd start of the season. Here's the Atlanta starting lineup presented by Nissan. It'll be Inciarte, Albies, and Freeman at the top. Markakis in right, Camargo at 3rd, and the big news: Acuna Jr., his major league debut. Swanson, Perez, and Whistler, the latter 3 in the batting order. Braves at 12 up, 10 down. And Brandon Finnegan, 7 1/3 innings, 8 walks, and 11 hits in his first 2 starts.
Well, the last couple of nights we've seen with Sal Romano, Tyler Mahle, they've established fastball control within the strike zone, both sides of the plate early, and achieved success. Finnegan will have to do that tonight.
All right, so here we go. Field and Colbert is a home plate umpire. C.B. Buckner is at first base. Chris Conroy at second. Brian Onora down at 3rd. Ender Inciarte had a 7-game hitting streak. Going into last night's game, he had singles his final 2 at-bats to extend it to 8 in a row. He looks at a strike in this one underway on a beautiful night. We finally see the sunshine. Been a lot of cloud cover, a lot of rain. Chill in the air the last couple of days, but this is just the warm-up act, apparently, for what's about to happen starting this weekend and rolling right into next week when the Reds come back home to open their first long homestand of the year. That'll begin on Monday. Brewers, Marlins, Mets all coming into town. That one looped into left, and that'll be a base hit to send it as a single to start the game for Ender Inciarte. Now a hit in 9 straight games. We look at the Reds on defense. A few changes from last night. Billy Hamilton off. Schebler moves into center field. Winker back in the lineup in right, and he'll be batting leadoff. Blandino in there at third after a good night last night. And once again, Tucker Barnhart behind the plate. Second baseman Ozzie Albies, 16 extra base hits, tied for the second most in the majors. One off Chicago's Javier Baez. His 9 doubles are the most in baseball. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Now that last pitch that Finnegan threw, that's the pitch that he has got to be more consistent with. And whether it was just by chance or whether it was actually a purpose pitch, he's got to be able to get the ball down and away from his arm side, down and in to righties, down and away from the left-handers.
Albies chasing a fastball well out of the strike zone, so a break there for Finnegan at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, that down and in pitch makes that pitch look a little bit better, but if all of them are up and away, up and away, up and away, you're going to walk the house.
Apparently that was a story on the former #1 pick of the Reds pitching at Louisville. Runner goes, and it's a check swing. The ball gets away from Barnhart, and that's not a foul ball. That is a stolen base. That was a weird look to it, that play at the plate. It was in the dirt.
Breaking ball in the dirt, bounced right off the front corner of the plate, and really no chance for Barnhart there at all.
8 stolen base in 10 attempts for Enciarte. And it's 2-2 on the Atlanta second baseman, just underway on this Wednesday night. Well, we're talking about Robert Stevenson very quickly. You know, you got to start for Louisville today. You look at the runs allowed, he allowed 1 run. But in 4 innings, Stevenson walked a whopping 8 batters in the game today.
Well, if it never seems to get any better, and with that young man it does not seem to get any better, the Reds have got to figure out some way to change the thought process of that kid.
Tapper over the mound. Peraza will give way to Jeanette, and the ball is thrown away into the well, and this will bring in a run.
That's where Peraza has got to take charge. He's the shortstop. He's coming towards the first base bag. He is the one that has got to scream out, I got it, I got it, I got it. Just because Jeanette has more service time, it has nothing to do with going for the baseball. Peraza makes that play way easier than having a difficult throw for Jeanette. But you have to open your mouth to make it happen.
So that'll go as an infield single for Albies. He does not get credit for an RBI. It was a throwing error on Jeanette, which allows a run to score from third base. 2 batters, 2 hits, 1-0 Atlanta. And here's Freddie Freeman. Finnegan had a very nice first season. I mean, all things considered, he came over. It was his first year as a starter in professional baseball when he first went to Kansas City. You remember, in the same year he pitched in the College World Series and then the World Series in October for the Royals. First player and only player ever to do that. But in 2016 he went 31 starts, 172 innings. Yeah, he walked a lot of guys, but he also struck out a lot of guys. He was tough to hit. And on a bad team, he won 10 games and had an ERA of under 4. But then last year, he began the year in the rotation. He made 4 starts and then was shut down. A couple of different injuries for the remainder of the year. Runner at second, nobody out, a run home. It's 2-1 on the first baseman, Freddie Freeman. And now 2-2. Freeman helped bring him back last night from a 5-0 deficit. And then part of that 4-run 9th inning to send it to extra innings. He hit a pair of solo home runs, giving him 4 now on the year and 17 batted in. Struck him out on a fastball.
Good comeback. Finnegan has the type of fastball that he throws. It looks like it's coming out of the back of his hat. It's not velocity, it's more deception, and he's got some movement to it as well. But if you don't get the ball down and within the strike zone, it doesn't matter how much deception you have. You can't always go by the radar gun.
Here's Markakis, who's just had an outstanding first 2 games of this series. He had 2 hits, including a home run, 3 runs batted in on Monday night. Last night was on base 4 times, 2 walks, 2 hits, a double, scored a run.
Markakis was not swinging at that pitch, even if it had been right down Broadway. He was standing straight up.
Breaking ball, snaps in there, a strike. Well, the Reds the highest, or the Braves the highest scoring team in the league, and a big reason why their numbers with runners in scoring position, a whopping 323. And you see the major league average is in the 250s with runners in scoring position so far this year. A light offensive year compared to really any other April in recent memory. Three balls and a strike to count on Nick Markakis. Saw Finnegan looking in at the home plate umpire, Field and Colbert, asking if that pitch was up. Finnegan early on has been all over the map, and that really has been his MO. Even going back to his college days, is the ability, or sometimes, unfortunately, frequently, inability to find the strike zone with any regularity. There's ball one to Johan Camargo. He had as important an at bat last night as anybody in the Atlanta lineup in that ninth inning, when he came to the plate with 2 out and the bases loaded and his team down 3, and was given a bases loaded walk by Raisel Iglesias. Runner takes off for third. No chance to throw him out. Not even a throw by Barnhart. It's number 2 in 4 attempts for Albies.
Well, you have a quick base runner at second base, and you're doing the same thing. 1 look pitch, 1 look pitch, 1 look pitch. They're going to leave.
Wait a minute, now they're sending him back to second base. Was timeout called at the plate?
Well, there's no doubt he had third stolen.
We have not been given any explanation, because it still says a 2-0 count. I thought that was the second pitch in the at bat to Camargo. I don't know whatever other reason that there would be. I think what we're being told is that that Tucker Barnhart made contact with the umpire as he went to throw the ball. And so at that point in time, the ball was dead, and they're not going to allow the stolen base.
Yep, caught the mask of home plate umpire Field Colbert as he turned to throw, and immediately Field Colbert sent the runner back to second base. But I'm with you, Tom. Even a clean throw there, no chance.
2-1 the count on Camargo, and now a throw back to second base, and the runner's safe. Now
I would ask you, in this circumstance, If you know the guy is going to run, why are you not paying more attention before he actually steals third base than before that? I would think that would be included in a scouting report or something along that line, or at least in your head when you take them out.
Two and two on Camargo. Talking about Camargo and you know what kind of year he could have had last year were he not hurt in August. I mean, this guy really did a lot of good things for a very young player. He's 23 years old. In 82 games, 241 at bats. He had 21 doubles, 27 runs batted in. Now he strikes out a lot, but he would have had another month plus worth of games to add to some of those numbers that were quite impressive for a young player. Strike three called, a fastball to the inside corner. And that's a second out of the inning.
As I said, it's not the radar gun, it's the location of the pitch. The hitters will tell you whether they're picking up the baseball or not, whether you throw the ball 100 miles an hour or whether you throw it 90 or 92.
Clearly the applause a lot of Atlanta Braves fans are here tonight. Ronald Acuna Jr. called up today, and his first major league swing is a high fly ball in a deep right center field. And Schebler has to run it down a step in front of the wall. But it looked like he didn't swing at that pitch barely at all. He's a #1 ranked player in the minor leagues in all of baseball. 1-0 Atlanta. They bat trailing 1-0, presented by Nissan. They'll go with Winker, Peraza, Votto at the top, Jeanette, Duvall, Schebler in the middle, Barnhart, Blandino, Finnegan the latter third. Bringing the energy the first two games of this series, the top of the lineup. Hitters 1 through 5, 13 runs, 15 batted in, 4 home runs. Of course, the Reds went the entire last road trip without a home run, and they have 4 of them from the top 5 hitters in their lineup in the first 2 games of this series. They're facing a native Buckeye from Bryan, Ohio, Matt Whistler. Bryan, Ohio's in Williams County, the northwesternmost county in the Buckeye State. Low and away ball 1, well north of Lima, Ohio. He's making his 48th start with Atlanta, his 69th game over the last 3 years. ERA a little over 5 so far in his major league career. 1 start with a big club this year, and that one smoked into right by Winker. A base hit.
not sure that Whistler enjoys pitching here at Great American Ballpark. He had a ball game where he served up 3 home runs in a 30-pitch sequence in 1 inning back in 2016 at this ballpark. Sometimes when you're going home or you come back to a familiar place in Ohio, got all your family and friends here, and it doesn't look good already.
And already here come the Redlegs. Back-to-back base hits by Winker and now Peraza. And the Reds trailing 1-0 have something cooking here in the opening inning.
Reds were very aggressive in last night's ball game. Same thing in game number 1. And they have started out aggressive here in this ball game.
Joey Votto takes on Matt Whistler today by AARP. Look at these numbers. 4 of 6 with a home run for Votto against this Atlanta right-hander. 3 pitches in the game and 2 Reds base hits. One ball and 1 strike on Joey, who got his first home run of the season here last night. Then he drew a walk leading off the 12th inning and scored on the game-ending 2-run blast to right field by Scooter Gennett. Breaking ball in there for strike 2. Votto's first home run coming into the front row in left center field here at Great American Ballpark.
The patented foul off of Joey Votto. Never seen anybody else that could quite do it that way.
And through the shift, a base hit into left center field. They're going to hold Winker at third. So he says take that on the scouting report. Just muscling one through the left side.
Yeah, high hanging breaking ball. He got the pitch 2 pitches ago, trying to catch that upper part of the strike zone, and instead of trying to pull that pitch into the air, he gets on top of it and drives it right through the hole on the left side of the infield. You can make absolute sure that Votto knows exactly where the defensive players are when he comes to the plate.
Well, it doesn't get much better than this. You got the bases loaded after 3 straight singles. Nobody out, and here's Scooter Gennett, who hit a pair of home runs last night, his first 2 of the year. He had 3 hits, and he drove in a run with a sacrifice bunt. Strike 1.
Well, this is not a place that Brian Snitker wants to see Matt Whistler, because he has had trouble in the past with the long ball. And you get runners aboard, that's when the manager starts thinking, oh, don't let it happen here.
Ahead of Gennett 0-2. Scooter now with 13 runs batted in after driving in 4 here last night. So he has taken over the team high from Adam Duvall in that category. 1 ball 2 strikes on Scooter Gennett.
All 3 pitches here in this at bat have been down and away from Scooter Gennett. We've seen him lately really shoot the ball the other way with some pretty good regularity.
Popped up. Shallow center field. Enciarte will come in to get it, and Winker's not going anywhere. And that's out number 1 here in the Reds' first. Take a look at Atlanta on defense, presented by Ford. Acuna Jr., the major league debut, and Ciarte and Markakis in the outfield. Camargo, his first start of the series, down at third. And Perez, his first start of the series behind the plate. Told you the youngest player in Major League Baseball. In fact, he and his teammate Albies are the only players in either league born in the year, unbelievably, of 1997. Boy, 1997. Where were you in 1997?
Recovering from shoulder surgery in a Velcro uniform next door. Velcro because I couldn't get it on any other way.
Duvall lifts one down the right field line and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Out of with the bases loaded. A 169 batting average, 3 home runs, 11 batted in. Duvall in 77 at bats has struck out 21 times. That's what Whistler is looking for here. Of course, the pitcher's best friend is the double play ball, and Duvall's looking to put the Reds in front with 1 swing of the bat. That's a nice play made by Perez behind the plate. That ball bounced 3 feet in front of the plate.
Well, a lot of the breaking balls that we've seen from Matt Whistler have either been into the dirt or they've been spinning up at the top of the strike zone. One of them was hit by Votto. You spin one of those to this guy, he's got a chance to put a 4 spot on the board in a hurry.
Good breaking ball there.
Very good one. That's not the one you want to swing at. That had some good tilt and some late bite.
Double play ball all the way here, and this will end the inning. The Reds don't score after loading the bases with nobody out. End of 1. 1-0, Braves in front. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your tri-state Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Had a little bit of that tonight. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Beautiful night at the ballpark. Really first nice weather night we have had in the early part of this season. There have been a lot of home games for the Reds. Tonight their 11th of the season.
Good night not only to play but to come and watch a ball game. It's quite comfortable here tonight.
Atlanta with a 1-0 lead. Scored on a couple of hits and a throwing error in the first inning against Brandon Finnegan, who worked out of a 2-on 1-out jam to avoid any further damage. Dansby Swanson the batter, and a liner right at the third baseman Blandino for out number 1.
That's why they're out there. Catch the ball when they hit it, but they can't catch it if you walk them.
In there, strike to the catcher Carlos Perez. Off the end of the bat, a pop up into short right center field, and Winker comes in to get it. Quickly 2 away for Finnegan here in the Atlanta second inning. And now Brandon trying to get through this inning quickly with a pitcher Whistler coming up and the base is empty. Whistler 0 for 2 in his only start. He began the year in the minor league, so tonight is just his second start here in 2018 with a big league club. But he pitched very, very well his first start. He went 7 innings, allowed 2 hits, 1 run, didn't walk a batter, fanned 8. And he got 3 trips to the plate, lasting 7 innings in that game. Went 0 for 2 and also put down a sacrifice.
Pitching looks so simple when you throw a first pitch strike. Every batter in this inning, strike 1. Yeah, there was a line drive to third, but where is he? He's in that dugout over there on the third base side. He's out.
And that's all for Whistler and the Braves. A quick 1-2-3 productive inning for Finnegan. Reds trail 1-0. Well, we invite you to download the app, play for free, start your streak, and compete to win $5.6 million. It really is a fun game. Download Beat the Streak today in the App Store on MLB.com/BTS. What you do is you pick a player, or you can pick 2 players to get a hit in their particular game. It's any player in baseball, and they provide you with the matchups and lifetime, what is Scott Schebler against Matt Whistler. You
batting average wise.
Figure out, what you might like, with the idea being getting to 56, the all-time hitting streak, Joe DiMaggio. He gets 56, you win $5.6 million.
It's hard.
It sounds easy. It's not.
It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, you have a hard time getting to 20-something. Really hard.
Well, the key with that is even Jose Altuve.
That's right.
0 for 3 days.
That's exactly right.
Or they might walk him 4 times.
Right. Or the guy that my son used to pick all the time, that Luke would pick almost every night, it'd be a good bet, is Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
There's a line drive to center, but it's caught out there by Inciarte for out number 1. Joey Votto's a guy you pick a lot, but he walks a lot. For Ed, it's a home run off that Toyota sign tonight. Jeffrey Fabe of Cincinnati will win that Tundra, thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers.
Well, the problem with it is if he walks every time, you get a do-over for the following day. But if he walks 3 times and then he's out in his last at bat, hang with him. Oh, what a play.
What a play is right. I mean, he made that look like there was nothing to it. And what an arm Albies has. He throws out Barnhart, 2 down in the inning.
Watch the drop step by Albies on this. Quickly to it, even slipped a bit and made it look easy.
Boy, that's just a flick of the wrist.
When you watch the game from up here, the quickness and the speed of the baseball game and the player you pick up right away.
And there's a rocket into right field by Blandino. He's starting to swing the bat a little bit. Blandino had 2 hits, was on base 3 times here last night. And now a 2-out single that will bring Finnegan to the plate.
What I noticed with Blandino is he's not over swinging. He's getting his hands inside the ball and he's getting the barrel to it. The ball's coming at such velocity. If you get the barrel to the ball, you're going to get some exit velocity. You're going to get the ball into the outfield. A lot of times guys try to swing so hard the hands extend away from the body and the bat just drags like you're swinging underwater.
Want to know the count on Finnegan, and he looks at a pitch low and away. 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, this is game 3 of a 4-game series. We have a 12:35 till tomorrow afternoon to wrap it up. Homer Bailey against Sean Newcomb tomorrow. And a tapper to Albies. And the feed for the force play, which will end the inning. 1 hit, 1 left. We've played 2, and the Braves lead by 1.
Earlier this season, that Joey Votto honored the Humboldt, Saskatchewan junior hockey team that was involved in that tragic bus crash. Well, tonight you can see the name Ken Lamb on Votto's spikes. Lamb was the officer in Toronto who made the arrest of the suspect accused of driving a van through a crowd of pedestrians in Toronto. Lamb is 42 years old, joined the force 7 years ago after a career as an engineer, simply because he said he wanted to help people. Votto recognizing Lamb tonight and the victims of that tragedy. It's subtle, but Votto always remembers his home country and the people in Canada, guys.
Well, as he should. I mean, what a tragic, tragic story that was. And boy, I mean, that was something right out of a Stephen King book. What took place there in Toronto. And I'm not being tongue-in-cheek when I say that. Literally, there was a book written a few years ago by Stephen King where that exact same thing happened.
Craziness.
Jam shot roller to the right side. Votto a long way, and well, that was a ground ball right at the second baseman. And we have seen that play even going back to the days of Brandon Phillips, where really there appears to be very poor communication between the first baseman and the second baseman. This is a ground ball to the second baseman.
Well, I still say that if the throw is on the money, the runner is out. I mean, that's an error on Joey Votto. That's what that is.
It has scored a base hit. All right, so now the batter Albies. Inciarte perfect 2 for 2 tonight. He had an infield single over the mound with a runner at second base in the first inning. That's when Peraza and Jeanette converged to try and get the ball. Jeanette picked it up and then threw it above Votto's head into the camera well, the far end of the Reds dugout, which allowed the game's only run so far tonight to score. Well, that's a late granted timeout there by Albies, and Finnegan never threw the ball, but he nearly fell over trying to hang on to it.
I would say as far as infield defense goes, the Reds cannot work on it enough. That's just the way it is. In the major leagues, you're expected to make plays. Well, Albies really moves around in that box much more than I was accustomed to just watching him here in these first few ball games. When he swings, it's almost as though he's off balance. Now he gets a good swing on the ball, but it makes you think, well, there are going to be some ups and some downs and some big valleys and some big crests, and that's kind of the way his first few weeks have started. He got a hit in his first time up, but he was 0 for 15 coming into that hit.
One ball and 2 strikes on Albies. Runner at first, Inciarte picked up his 8th stolen base of the year, and he takes off running again. That appeared to be a hit and run, just based on the way Inciarte was running to second base, looking back over his left shoulder at the swing by the batter.
Well, I think with Inciarte, he's running. He knows that Albies is an aggressive swinger. You just make sure you get a little eyeball in before you take off, or as you're taking off.
And you know, I was wrong about that after watching that replay. He would look like on a straight steal. He did not look over his shoulder until maybe 2 paces from the bag. I think it's pretty evident that you can run on Finnegan. I mean, I'm not allowing any state secret here. That's what these teams do. They break down every pitcher, and they have a clock on his time from releasing the ball till it gets to home plate, the time on the catcher, until he's able to catch it and get it down to this covering at the second base bag.
Any pitcher that is coming back from a shoulder injury, he's not going to be able to slide step. He may try to be quick, but more times than not, when you're coming back from a shoulder injury and you're trying to be quick, as Finnegan was on just that last pitch, the ball ends up being high because you are really trying to force the ball back down, and that's not the muscles that you have been using. It takes a while to get back into that groove of driving the ball down, and that's shoulder strength. You hear it so many times, a guy coming back from rehab, boy, he's really throwing the ball great on flat ground. Well, whoop-dee-doo. If you can't throw it off the mound, you can't pitch.
Two and two the count on Albies. Paying a lot of attention to NCRT at first. He's running again, and this one is playable in short right field for Winker. And back to the first base bag goes NCRT. One out here in the Atlanta third.
Well, you can see Ron Washington, as soon as that ball went into the air, he's got his hand in the air. Because I'm not sure that NCRT actually knew where that ball was until he picked up the third base coach.
So now Freddie Freeman, he struck out swinging against Finnegan in the first inning. Reds had to use a lot of bullpen here last night. Not necessarily a lot of different pitchers. They only used a total of 4 relievers, and included in that 4 was just 1/3 of an inning pitched by Wandy Peralta. But, you know, Amir Garrett pitched 2 1/3. Iglesias only 2/3, but he was out there for a long time. Got his first blown save of the year. And then Hughes was spectacular. I mean, just spectacular. 2 2/3 innings. That one popped up into left field. It'll fall in front of Duvall.
Yeah, this is one of those nights for Jim Riggleman in the bullpen where you probably only have Iglesias in a save situation, and only for 1 inning or maybe a couple of outs. You probably don't have Peralta at all because he's pitched 2 days in a row. Jared Hughes would probably tell you, well, I can pitch tonight. He pitched 3 innings last night, so you're probably going to try to stay away from him. So maybe we'll see some new faces.
Well, Shackelford was just activated from the disabled list for the first time yesterday when Kevin Quackenbush was sent out, which he cleared waivers, by the way, and will go pitch for Louisville. So 2 on, 1 out. Braves leading 1-0. One 1-0 on Markakis. He walked his first time up. You know, Finnegan came out after his last game where, you know, he was very wild again for a second straight start. And his comments after the game were, well, you know, they didn't hit me hard at all. A blue pier, a roller there, an infield hit here. And, you know, and all of those things may have been true. And he's having a little bit of that so far here tonight when you look at the overall offensive production of the Braves in this game. They have 3 infield hits. Here's a fly ball to left center caught by Shebler. Throw going into second base.
Good play.
And the runner advances on to third, but Freeman stays at first. 2 are out.
Almost appeared as though Shebler changed his mind in mid-stroke. It looked like he was going to come up and fire to third base. Had he done that, Freeman would have been standing at second.
One more out to go, and that's Camargo, who is called out on strikes his first time up. 1 run, 4 hits for Atlanta. The Reds in the first inning loaded the bases with none out. And Whistler able to wiggle off the hook. Breaking ball in the dirt. Runners at first and third, 2 away, 1-0 on Camargo. It looked like he went around, and they appeal, and no is the answer. 2 balls and no strikes. Must have held up. Well, that's a swing all the way.
Must not have been watching.
Yeah. That's that famous John Madden line. Are you watching the same game I'm watching? Now 3 balls and no strikes. And for those wondering if I made a mistake on that, I didn't mean Joe Madden. I did mean John Madden. He used to bark that to his producer and I did. He used to bark that as producers and directors. Are you watching the same game I'm watching? In there, strike, 3-1. Cubs and the Indians going at it again tonight. Cubs big winners last night up in Cleveland. Three balls and a strike. Pulled down the left field line towards the corner, and this ball will one-hop the wall. 1 run scores. They're going to hold Freeman. It's a run-scoring double on a 3-1 pitch by Camargo, and the Braves are now up 2-0.
Trying to get that fastball back down and in, and this one ends up middle and out over the plate and hammered.
We were starting to tell you about this young man making his major league debut here tonight, Acuna. Ronald Acuna Jr. He was named the minor league player of the year by both Baseball America and USA Today as a hitting prospect. And twice tonight he swung at the first pitch and hit the ball hard. Once to center, now to right. And the inning is over. But the Braves get another run and lead in the middle of the third, 2-0. Experience. Check out the Scouts Club presented by Belterra Park, Cincinnati. Spacious, luxurious club. Enjoy a full service bar, grab and go concessions at the home plate market, so much more. Get your Scouts Club tickets today at reds.com/premium. Those are right behind the Diamond Club.
Maybe I can do the game from down there. That sounds kind of tasty.
Well, I remember a few years ago when Aroldis Chapman was first called up, you were down there.
I like that. You get somebody that brings you your stuff.
No
you
doubt.
don't even have to get up. Just raise your hand. They bring you a Coke. Get a little Skyline and be licking good.
You'd be licking real good. But I mean, a guy like you know, you wouldn't want to just get a little Skyline.
What do you mean
you
a
have
guy
all kinds of different stuff to choose from down there. They got ribs.
Well, I would have been eating.
They got chicken.
I'd have been eating ice cream at the time, but that kind of clogs up my throat a bit.
There's a base hit into right by Winker. And Jesse a perfect 2 for 2. A pair of singles to right field. Boy, he is really hitting the ball with authority, isn't he?
You know, I really believe, Tom, sooner or later, Jesse Winker will be more in an RBI spot rather than the leadoff spot. Obviously, the Reds need him to get on base right now. And it's almost like I can remember Will Clark hitting the leadoff spot when he first came to the big leagues. But as time went on, Will ended up being a number 3 hole hitter, and he was driving in runs with some major regularity.
Boy, was he ever. Peraza drives one into left center field. It'll stay up long enough to be run down by Inciarte.
Boy, that was a great jump by Inciarte. There's not too many outfielders, especially center fielders, that you see with the kind of field coverage of Billy Hamilton. That would be one of them. He's playing on the right field side of second base. A great first step, and makes it look easy on a ball that was scalded by Peraza.
That brings up Joey Votto. He had a single through the shift, right where the shortstop would be. I mean, that was nothing more than a ground ball to the shortstop, but there wasn't anybody there, nor is there anyone there his second time up. Pirates lost again today. They're now down to 12 and 11. They've lost 5 in a row. Meanwhile, the streaking Brewers have ripped off 7 straight wins. That began against the Reds a week ago last night after the Reds won the first game of that 3-game series. They have not lost since last Monday night.
Brewers can hit a little bit now.
Yes, they can.
They're going to put some runs on the board.
Eric Thames tore a ligament in his left thumb and is going to miss an extended period of time. There's a strike to Votto. He's not so sure about that.
A big outside corner for Fielding Culbreth. We have seen it from first pitch on.
3-1 the count on Joey.
You know, I say this all the time, Tom, but if you're a hitter or a pitcher, if you're not keeping some semblance of a diary on the varying strike zones of the umpires, you're not doing all your homework. That's not a pitch that Votto would normally swing at. That pitch is off the plate about 3 inches, but because of the strike call on the previous pitch, that's something he's got to go swing at.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Matt Whistler, the pause, and a glance at the runner who's going. And a foul ball over near the Reds dugout. Well, it's rare to see Winker put in any kind of motion, even on a 3-2 pitch. Let's see if Jesse starts again. He has about a 2-step lead over there at first. There he goes. And it's ball 4. So Votto on base for the second time. That's the first walk of the game given up by Whistler. And the Reds have something cooking as they did in the first inning. They loaded him up with nobody out. Now they have 2 on with 1 out for Scooter Gennett, who popped up. into short center field with the bases loaded and nobody out his first time up. So some of the numbers Jeff Piccolo was talking about last night, how good Jeanette has been swinging the bat here at home at .405 batting average, and looking to add to that right here. And Whistler now all of a sudden having a hard time finding the strike zone. Two and one to Jeanette. Not a lot of speed out there in the bases for the Reds right now. Winker the runner at second and Votto at first. Although Freeman does play behind Joey, so he's got a good lead over there.
If you hit it out, they can jog.
Well, Scooter hit a couple of them last night, including that one that ended the game.
On a left-handed hook. See ya.
Yeah, they had just brought Fried up early in the day from the minor leagues, and he gave up a walk and a bomb to the only two batters he faced. Two and two on Jeanette, 2 on, 1 out. Straight up in the air again. Second time he's gotten Scooter to pop it up. Infield fly rule, and that's a second out of the inning. So like the first inning, it's now up to Adam Duvall. You may recall he came to the plate in the first with the bases loaded and 1 out. Hit a sharp ground ball right at the second baseman who was playing next to the bag, and it turned into a double play to end the inning. Addisman has been so productive the last 2 years, knocking in over 200 runs total the last 2 seasons. Clearly off to a slow start this year, and the Reds very much believing that he will do what he's done the last couple of years. They'd like to see that start right now. Whistler jumps in front of him 0-2. George Foster was the last Cincinnati Reds right-handed batter. Of course, Adam Dunn did it a number of times as a left-handed batter, but the last right-handed batter with consecutive 30 home run seasons. Of course, Foster, a former National League most valuable player as a Red Leg.
Whistler is giving him a steady diet of the breaking ball here in this at bat.
Popped up behind the second base bag. This should end the inning, and it will. We've played 3 at Great American Ballpark, and the Braves are in front of the Reds 2-0.
Brought to you by Geico. And 41 years ago today, the Reds beat the Braves 23-9. George Foster, guys just talked about, went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs, 5 runs scored. The Reds set a team record at the time, scoring 12. That was Foster's MVP season. He led the league that year with 52 home runs, drove in 149, and hit 320, guys. Not bad.
I mean, you just repeat some of those numbers there, Brian, and you think about that. 52 home runs, you drive in 149 runs, and you hit over 320. I mean, that is just...
That's killing it.
I mean, it really is. You know, one of the stories I'll never forget hearing about George Foster, and he is one of the sweetest, most gentle men you've ever been around in your life. And we see him all the time here in Cincinnati, see him in Arizona.
Really likes to laugh.
Loves to laugh, loves to smile.
Always a smile on his face.
I remember when I was a kid, the Reds would get finished with their spring training games, and every afternoon I used to go hit tennis balls with George Foster every day.
Really?
Like clockwork. And boy, what a beautiful man. Just a great man. But our old buddy Bob Brenly tells a story all the time. When he made his major league debut, Bob Brenly is from Coshocton, Ohio. His major league debut was as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. And it was as a member of the Giants against the Reds, and they played at Old Riverfront Stadium. In the very first inning of the game, George Foster came to the plate. The pitcher on the mound, Atlee Hammaker, threw a changeup. And the pitch, as Foster was a right-handed batter, according to Brenly, the pitch couldn't have been more than shin high, about 5 inches off the outside corner. Foster covered the plate, downward swing, and hit the ball in the Red seats into left field. Now, everybody remembers home runs in the Red seats were few and far between. And Brenly tells a story all the time that the second that ball was hit and he saw where it landed, he said, "What in the world am I doing here?"
Big, strong man. You take a pitch down and away and hook it.
Upper tank.
Coming on with it.
He had incredible power. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Braves batting here in the 4th inning with a 2-0 lead over Brandon Finnegan and the Reds. Off the end of the bat, broke his bat. Stays in the air long enough for Duvall to run it down, 1 out. The latter third in the batting order went down 1-2-3 against Finnegan in the 2nd inning. Brandon retires a number 7 hitter and now faces Perez and gets him to pop it up on the first pitch in his short right. So quickly 2 outs in the inning as Winker squeezes it tightly. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
Here's a pitcher, Whistler, who has found a way to navigate through a couple of really sticky situations out there on the mound, especially in that first inning with the bases loaded and nobody out. Got a pop up in a double play ball, and then in the 3rd inning, 2 on and 1 out, he got a pair of pop ups from Jeanette and Duvall to strand 2. Reds have left 5 runners on base through the first 3 innings here tonight. 1-2 to count. And that's all for the Braves on a breaking ball, strike 3. Middle of the 4th, Atlanta 2, the Reds nothing.
We take you to San Francisco, Nats and Giants, and Max Scherzer on the mound doing Max Scherzer type things for the Nats. He went 6 innings, had 10 strikeouts, but Matt Adams with that 3-run jack helped the Nats go on to a 15-2 win over the Giants, but it's still been a little bit of a slow start in Washington for the Davey Martinez era. 11-14, but having Max Scherzer and some of those bats definitely helps, guys.
Well, you're right about that, Brian. And meanwhile, for the Giants, boy, they paid Jeff Samardzija a king's ransom to bring him in there, thinking he'd get on a good team and start to win some games. And so far, anyway, that deal has not been a good one for the Giants.
Doesn't pitch down. Pitches up around the middle of the thigh. Don't care how hard you throw it, you're going to get hammered up there.
Reds coming back against Whistler here in the last of the 4th inning, trailing 2-0.
Well, there's always the chance of the long ball when Matt Whistler takes them out. He's given up 44 home runs in 47 career starts.
Schebler hit the ball very hard his first time up. This time a ground ball to second baseman Albies, and on 2 pitches, that's out number 1.
So if you're Brandon Finnegan, your job is to keep the ball game right where it's at. Give your team an opportunity when you get 4th, 5th inning, that 3rd time through the lineup for Whistler. Magic.
Tucker Barnhart bounced out to the second baseman his first time up. That was a really nice play, though, by Albies in that 2nd inning on a ball hit back up through the middle. Ball almost appeared to be by him when he extended the left arm across his body, seemingly snatching it back from center field. This was a really nice play. It's a foul ball. Tell you what, if the Braves, you watch them play in this series, and Cowboy, you touched on it last night, they've got some nice veteran players sprinkled in here and there. Freeman's been around, although he's still a young guy, been around a while. Enciarte's only 27, but he's been around a while. Markakis, clearly the veteran player of the regular players on this team, but now with Acuna, depending on how that plays out, I mean, just because you're great in the minor leagues doesn't mean you'll be great in the major leagues, but they're excited to have him. To go along with guys like Swanson and Albies. Now this team is heading in the right direction. It's Atlanta team. I know the Reds have taken it to them the last couple of nights, but there are a lot of pieces to like on this team. Pitching's a little short.
I think so too. But I think the Braves are in a very similar position as the Reds. They're trying to develop pitching at the big league level and trying to surround them with some semblance of solid defense and then the ability to score some runs. I mean, you always try to err on the side of developing your own people on the mound rather than to have to go buy it, because that is a boatload of an expenditure.
Yes, it is. 1-1 on Blandino. He had a rocket into right field, a base hit his first time up. 2 balls and a strike on Alex Blandino.
I mean, let's think about it this way. Even if you had the greatest offensive team in the game, it's tough to go out and find 5 quality starters and buy them on the open market.
That's right.
And you pay a king's ransom to do it, and there's no guarantees there. At least with your own guy, you have a reasonable expectation that he can do X, Y, or Z.
3 balls and a strike on Blandino. Bases empty, 2 outs. Last of the 4th inning. And an excuse me swing, and that's when you know you're starting to heat up a little bit. Blandino will stop at first base. He's 2 for 2 tonight. How about that?
But he caught it on the barrel. Now, if he's at the plate trying to overswing and really trying to lift and drive the ball, he either pops that up or he just totally misses it. But he's got a nice relaxed swing, just getting the barrel to the baseball. He's found himself a couple of hits.
Blandino now has 8 hits in his last 17 at bats, spanning the last 4 games. Here's Brandon Finnegan. He bounced into a fielder's choice. That ball stung to center field. And back to get it in, Ciarte, the 2-time Gold Glove winning Atlanta center fielder. Into 4, Atlanta in front 2-0.
Marlins Saturday, May 5th. The first 20,000 fans through the gates get an A. Eugenio Suarez bobblehead presented by John Morrell. See your Reds in action for as low as $12. For tickets, go to Reds.com. And speaking of A. Eugenio Suarez, played earlier today in Louisville. 0 for today at the plate after a double and a couple of walks yesterday. The bats are off tomorrow, and earlier today manager Jim Riggleman said you could probably expect to see Suarez back in Cincinnati tomorrow, if nothing else, just to check in and get checked out. Doesn't know yet if or when he'll be activated, but Suarez probably headed back this way tomorrow, and then hopefully not long until he's back on the field here with the Redlegs, guys.
Yeah, I talked with someone that saw him play today. Said he looked awfully good. Said you couldn't tell that he had something wrong with his thumb, leg, arm, elbow, anything. Looked great.
It's great news.
Amen.
Can't wait to get him back. You may recall the day before he broke that thumb when he was hit on the thumb by Tyone of the Pirates. First pitch swinging in Ciarte, and Finnegan will get him out for the first time after 2 hits and 2 runs scored tonight. But remember, the day before was when Suarez tied the game. The Reds were down 2. He had a 2-run single in the 6th inning, and then in the 8th inning it was still a tie game. He had a 3-run home run, had a big night, and then was injured the next day. Barely 1 week into the season, not even a week's worth of games. Albies a high fly, towering ball down the left field line, and that's off the fair Paul home run. As soon as it left the bat, you knew it was more than enough to get out of here. It was just a matter of whether it would stay fair.
Yeah, it looked like with the swing he was going to hook that ball foul.
Guy's got some pop in that bat, doesn't he?
He does. He swings with everything he's got. Not quite Javier Baez type swing, but very similar.
It's not even 330 feet down that left field line, but gosh, that ball seemed to jump off his bat. Speaking of jumping off the bat, that was a line drive right at Peraza from Freddie Freeman. 2 outs. Braves now lead 3-0 here in the 5th inning.
Well, when the ball came off of Albies' bat, it went straight up, but he did catch it on the good part of the bat, and he got good extension with it as well.
For Albies, that's already his 7th home run of this season. 7 of them for this young, talented second baseman. We mentioned that now ties him again for the most extra base hits among all major leaguers this year. He came into the series in first, was leapfrogged by Baez. Boy, they're hitting some missiles off Finnegan here in this inning. 3 in a row. The drive down the line, well struck. I don't know about if missile would be the appropriate word for the home run, but certainly Freeman, and now the single to center by Markakis, a line drive. Austin Bryce beginning to loosen in the Reds bullpen. Count 0-1 on Camargo. Struck out his first time up and lined a double to left field, driving in a run his last time up. This one the other way and foul.
That would have been a little ugly, as that probably would have scored Markakis all the way from first base. Camargo takes some pretty good passes on the pitches that are up. That pitch down, not so much.
0-2 the count on Camargo. Fastball rides high and away. Atlanta has scored in 3 of the 5 innings so far here tonight against Brandon Finnegan. Single runs in each of the first, the third, and now the 5th. Nice play by Finnegan on the mound. Just stuck a fork in that one. The home run by Albies takes us to the last of the 5th, with Atlanta leading 3-0. Business Day special here on Fox Sports Ohio. Our Reds live coverage kicks off at high noon. Game coverage at 12:30. Game can also be streamed on the Fox Sports Go app. April in the OHIO presented by Menards. We invite you to join us tomorrow. Left-hander Sean Newcomb for Atlanta. Homer Bailey, who's thrown the ball so well this year, especially of late. His last 3 starts have just been
awfully
dynamite.
good. Awfully good.
Jesse Winker, a .476 batter during this current 7-game hitting streak. He's a perfect 2 for 2 so far here tonight. And I mean 2 singles with authority into right field. Breaking ball in the outside corner, drops in a strike. Whistler pitched out of trouble in the first inning, and I mean the worst kind of trouble. Bases loaded, nobody out. Winker fights that one off down the third base line and into the stands, and then the Reds put 2 on against this Atlanta right-hander in the third, and were unable to score. Coming up later on, we'll have our Hold True moment presented by Miller Lite. So we invite you to stick around for that. Great seat out there in right. Remember, I used to bring my son and or daughter down from time to time when we wouldn't be doing an afternoon game like tomorrow, and we just bounce around the ballpark. Upper deck and left field, upper deck behind the plate, which is another great seat. Upper deck right behind the plate, and then used to walk around into the outfield. And you know, out in right, you're really close because you're at 370 in the gap as opposed to 379 in left center. Now you're a little higher in left center, which is a cool seat, but in right field, I mean, you feel like you're right there.
Yeah, you want to really see how fast Billy Hamilton is in the outfield. Sit up top right behind home plate, and he'll show it to you.
Winker is on base for the 3rd straight time tonight. That's the 2nd walk of the game given up by Whistler. And here comes Peraza, who's 1 for 2. You know, Peraza started this year 0 for 12. Since then, he is a .315 batter with only 6 strikeouts in 82 innings.
Well, this is an important inning for the Reds and for the Braves. You've got your starter facing the Reds for the 3rd time around. And statistically, that works in the offense's favor.
You know, one follow-up note on Peraza, not only hitting .315 since starting the season so poorly, his on-base percentage is almost .350. Now, he's not a guy that's going to walk a lot. We know that. And he's not a guy that's going to hit for a lot of power. But, I mean, hitting .315 for the better part of 3 weeks, you'll take that. Off the end of the bat, this will be caught by Acuna Jr., and he likes the junior part. Got to make sure I get that right. 1 away in the inning. His father played baseball professionally in the minor leagues for 3 different organizations, the Mets, Toronto, and Milwaukee. His grandfather, Romo Blanco, was a pitcher in the Houston system, so he comes from a baseball family. Joey Votto has singled and drawn a walk. Ball in the air, hit pretty well in a deep left center field, and that ball is out of here. Votto is homered for the 2nd straight night, and it's a 1-run game.
That is now 45 home runs in 48 starts for Matt Whistler. You had to know it was coming. 3rd time through the lineup. Bingo.
I tell you, in back-to-back games, the first row the other way in left center field for Votto. His first 2 home runs of the year, and a big one here to get the Reds on the board and bring them within a run.
You know, there's so much made about the home runs by Aaron Judge, the length of them, or Giancarlo Stanton. Still only count 1 run. You can scrape that yellow line and it go into the seats. It's 1 run.
One hopper sharply hit right at Albies, and this will be the 2nd out of the inning.
The Reds have created a bit of momentum with the 2-run home run by Votto and getting on the board, making this now a 1-run ball game. It'll be really important for Brandon Finnegan as he takes the mound in the 6th. Quick outs and get your offense back in the dugout.
Well, it'll be 6, 7, and 8 in the batting order, and he's handled
the bottom of the order rather easily.
Well, they're 0 for 8. 1-0 on Adam Duvall. 2 in, 2 out. Nobody on. Threw a fastball right by him. 1 ball, 1 strike. We get that haze over the entire ballpark. Remnants of the fireworks going off.
That's how they do it at Mississippi State, except it's barbecue smoke.
Constantly through the whole game, right?
For the entirety.
Yes, yes, very nice. Well, as it should be. It's a big league setup. I mean, that's basically a big league ballpark they're playing in, minus a 3rd deck.
That is correct. Players from Arkansas come in. He said there won't be a recruit that comes to this place that won't want to sign here.
Right.
I don't care where he's from.
Two and 2 the count on Duvall. Count runs full on Adam. Now, what kind of team do they have down there this year?
They're getting better. They started out rough, lost their head coach right at the beginning of the season, but they're just now starting to kick things into gear. They're starting to win some baseball games in repetitive fashion.
Wait a minute, you say they lost and he got lost? What happened to him?
He got fired.
All right, there you go.
Or resigned, I should say.
All right.
Long story.
If you have your phone nearby, scroll over to Fox Sports Ohio on Instagram to relive great moments and get insights from the players. Follow Fox Sports OH on Instagram. You a big Instagram guy, are you?
What Graham?
Instagram.
No.
This ball is drilled into left center field off the bat of Shebler. It's going to bounce up against the wall. They're going to wave around Duvall. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he's out by 15 feet. Billy Hatcher taking a chance here with 2 outs. Shebler with a double. And the potential tying run is cut down. The ball was played perfectly by Inciarte off the wall. His perfect throw to Swanson. It took a perfect play off the wall and 2 perfect throws to cut down Duvall. The Reds do, however, get on the board. A 2-run home run by Joey Votto. It's a 1-run game at the end of 5. Atlanta in front. got his foot on the plate. I mean, the catcher had the ball way before Duvall ever got there. But did he ever apply the tag before Duvall's front right foot? Here we go. Here's the decision. Runner safe at home. How about that?
And we are tied. Carlos Perez was trying to do everything technically correct by not blocking the plate before he had the baseball. His body was moved up the first baseline to take the throw. Well, instead of sliding back to the plate and making the tag, he reached for Duvall, and reaching created a problem for him. Perfect bounce. Even the double clutch of Swanson, he still made a great throw. But you see the lunge and the high tag. You take the glove to the base or the plate, not to the runner.
Makes you wonder if all these rule changes, the way catchers, now can't block the plate. They're trying to avoid the collisions, which I think everybody agrees with. But whatever physicality there was at the catcher's position in regard to any sort of play at the plate anymore, it makes you wonder if these guys are even prepared for contact anymore.
Normally you make that catch and then you slide on your knees to cover the entire plate. If you have the ball before the runner is ever in the plate area, you can sit on the plate. But he did not do that.
All right, so it's an RBI double by Schebler, and this Reds' fifth inning continues. Scott out at second base, and we begin a new 3-3 in the fifth. And a breaking ball is strike one to Tucker Barnhart.
Huge reversal in this ball game, especially with a runner at second and Tucker Barnhart at the plate. You've got a chance to really pour acid in the wound here.
Broken bat flare into right. This will bring in the go-ahead run. Rounding third and scoring is Schebler. A two-base hit for Barnhart. How about that? And the Reds lead for the first time tonight. It's a 4-3 game. So there's that salt for you.
Well, I said acid, but
I apologize.
You could use salt.
Trying to be a little more humane.
Either way, it burns.
And look at Whistler. He knows he should have been out of this inning, but his catcher just puts a tag on with a one-run lead. And he continues for Blandino, 2 for 2 tonight. A line drive single into right, then a half swing. Bat meets ball single down the first base line his last time up. Austin Bryce is up and throwing again in the Reds bullpen. Saw him earlier. Jesse Biddle throwing in the Atlanta pen.
And Cliff Pennington has moved out into the on-deck circle if his spot comes to the plate. Or if Finnegan's spot comes to the plate, I should add.
It's been a 4-run Reds fifth inning. Pulled foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Blandino. And already in this series, 4 times the Reds have scored 3 runs or more now in an inning. They had only done that a total of 4 times in their first 21 games. So 10 runs Monday night, 9 runs in 12 innings last night, and here a 4th spot in the 5th tonight.
It's always a spot of attention for a starter as he faces a lineup for the 3rd time through the order.
Fly ball right field. That's easy for Markakis, and that's also the Reds get a big time break.
Oh.
A blown play at the plate by Perez. Overturned call on the field. A hit after that gives them a lead at 4-3.
thanks to the go-ahead RBI double by that man, Tucker Barnhart. And, you know, we know guys are particular about their equipment, especially their gloves. But Tucker Barnhart this season gladly accepted new gloves for one very good reason. And that is because the gloves he got from Rawlings for this season have that little gold patch on the back, which signifies the exclusive fraternity that he joined last season with his very first gold glove. So when you get new gloves, it takes some work, right? Well, Barnhart in the clubhouse yesterday. You see the one he's using now. He broke that one in spring training, but yesterday in the clubhouse, this is where it all starts. The work to get that one ready, he says, hopefully maybe 2 seasons from now. But gold glover Tucker Barnhart, glad to be wearing those that he can look down and remember that he's one of the best defensive catchers in baseball, guys.
It's pretty cool stuff right there. Great video. Thanks, Brian. The night is over for Brandon Finnegan. He goes 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. He walked a batter, fanned 4, and he'll give way to Austin Bryce, who over his last 2 appearances has retired all 6 batters he's faced. Cliff Pennington takes over as part of a double switch down at third base. So he will bat in the number 9 spot, which means he's due to lead off in the bottom of this 6th inning. Here's Acuna, who flied out to center, flied out to right in first pitch at bats in the 1st inning and the 3rd inning. "20-year-old Ronald Acuna Jr. Pulled the string on him a little bit right there and way out in front.
The one thing that you can bet the house on, a young player coming to the big leagues, especially at age 20, he wants to do something special in his first ball game. If you're Austin Bryce, you make a pitch, but you make it just a little off the plate where he's got to go get it. Don't give in.
Almost hit with that fastball at 96 miles per hour. His first at bat tonight, he almost played long ball. Sent Schebler all the way to the wall. All right, so 3-2 now on Acuna Jr. Struck him out.
If not for the sink on that fastball, you probably don't get any kind of check swing at all. The pitch looked like it was going to be up and out of the strike zone. Came right back to it.
By making the double switch with Bryce here in the 6th inning, clearly the Reds are hoping he can give them more than just this single inning. He's already this season twice thrown 2 innings. 4 times he's thrown more than just 1 inning. And already in his very short major league career, 13 times he threw at least 2 innings, and a couple of times even more than that. That'd be ideal after the way the bullpen was used here last night. And I'm talking about your primary guys. I'm not saying there aren't some guys down there that aren't rested, because there are, but of the primary guys that you like to build with getting to the 7th and 8th and 9th innings, being Peralta, Hughes, and Iglesias. Those guys have either been used in multiple days consecutively or multiple innings, as was the case last night for Jared Hughes. Fly ball to center field, and Bryce has retired the first 2 here in the 6th.
Well, the Braves run out a pretty heavy laden left-handed hitting lineup, and with that being said, you had Peralta that threw 2 days in a row. You had Garrett that threw into the 3rd inning last night. So if you're going to use either one of the left-handers, it's probably only going to be for a batter or 2, maybe a Freeman Markakis situation.
And that would certainly stand to be Peralta, since he only faced 2 batters in the game here last night on a 2nd consecutive day of work.
Although remember, the night before last, Peralta threw an inning and 2/3 out of the bullpen.
It would be, they both extended themselves a little bit. The 3 innings for, or 2+ innings for Garrett last night, and Peralta has thrown back-to-back ball games. I don't think that they would use Garrett tonight unless it was an emergency situation. I think they may use Peralta, but it would only be for a batter, maybe 2.
1 ball and 1 strike on Carlos Perez. In the air left field, Duvall's got it. Nice job by Austin Bryce. A 1-2-3 inning. Reds will bat in the 6th, in front by a run. Ohio brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. Beautiful night here at the ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. Beautiful, beautiful night. Look at that final remnants of sunlight. Now you see fading away into the western sky over the first base line here at the ballpark. Back behind the plate, where he has started and finished each of the last 2 games, is Kurt Suzuki. And we told you warming up in the last inning, and now taking over on the mound is the left-hander Jesse Biddle. Biddle replacing Whistler, who, yes, gave up the 2-run home run to Votto, and then he issued the 2-out walk to Duvall. But he has to be walking back into that clubhouse very frustrated. One, on a play that wasn't made by his catcher, Carlos Perez. It should have been the final out of the inning. Runner was initially called out because the ball beat Duvall, the runner, by about 10 feet in front of the plate. But Perez did not apply the tag before the foot hit the plate. Slow roller here. Camargo will not even throw it. Infield hit by Pennington. And then he allows a broken bat double down the right field line off the bat of Barnard once we got back following the review.
Not a whole lot you can do when you're playing deep and you get a slow tapper towards third. Camargo got to the baseball, did everything technically correct, got to it barehanded, got his hand underneath the baseball. No play at first base.
So Whistler goes 5, allows 9 hits, 4 runs, all earned. Did not strike out a batter and walked 3. Winker's had a really good night again, extending his hitting streak to 7 straight. He has 2 singles, has walked, scored a run, been on base 3 times in a 2-0 count. Straight up in the air. Shortstop calls off everybody for the first out.
Converges on the infield for a pop-up. The shortstop, with his vocal authority, is the one that makes the call or the decision. And if you're not aggressive at shortstop vocally and going after the baseball, that's when you see balls that are popped up in the infield and they drop right behind the mound. That's the shortstop's fault when that happens.
Breaking ball. Peraza tries to hold up on the swing, and apparently he did on the appeal. Peraza clearly putting the ball in play. 41 at bats. That's the longest active streak among all players in big league baseball without striking out. And he's been getting a lot of hits. This one on its way to the seats. One ball and 2 strikes on Jose Peraza. And he holds up again and again wins a verdict.
Peraza's had a pretty good series thus far against his old club, the Atlanta Braves. 6 for 13 at the moment. I think he'd like to add to that 6 right here.
There's one. Have to hurry to double him up, but Swanson cuts it loose and they get the double play, which ends the inning. We're on our way to the 7th. Reds lead Atlanta by a run. this one 3-0 before scoring 4 times in the last of the 5th inning. And that lead stands as we're set for the 7th. Austin Bryce, his 2nd inning of work. He had a 1-2-3 6th inning in relief of starter Brandon Finnegan. And now he'll be facing Suzuki, part of a double switch. Taking over behind the plate for Perez, then the top of the order Inciarte and Albies. Suzuki's having a nice year. Batting average close to .330. Hit a home run here last night with a man aboard. That was in the 7th inning when they scored the 3 off of Tyler Mahle. And then he had a single in that 4-run 9th inning. Added another hit in the 12th inning. So 4 homers for Suzuki and 11 runs batted in. That's pretty good. And I mean, he's playing virtually every day. This is the first day where, you know, maybe the 3rd time in the last 2.5 weeks since Tyler Flowers was sent down with an injury, where they hope to have him back maybe as early as tomorrow, or rather Friday, when the team goes to Philadelphia. Speaking of the Phillies, they're locked up with the Diamondbacks. We talked about that being a really good series. It began last night. Philadelphia entered the series at 14-7. The only 2 teams in baseball with a better record going into that series last night, the Mets, who lead the NL East, and then the team they were playing, Arizona. Arizona won the opener of that series to go to 16-6, best record in the league.
When you've got a batter at the plate like Suzuki, you got to head 0-2 with a series of breaking balls. I didn't like that last pitch. It was a fastball out over the plate, 0-2. He's yet to come hard in with a fastball to open up that outside corner. I know that was an edict for pitching coach, new pitching coach Danny Darwin when he got up here. We will pitch inside. Well, there's no better time than when it's 0-2.
Came in with a fastball. There you have it. He got him on a swing and a miss. Yeah, Bryce is throwing the ball really well right now. He's retired the last 10 batters he has faced, spanning 3 outings.
That ball had some major downward movement. When you throw a sinker and the ball runs flat and still goes down, okay. But when it comes into the plate and drops straight down at 94, ain't too many folks hitting that one.
Inciarte 2 of 3, a couple of singles, has scored 2 of the 3 Atlanta runs in the game. And he has a 3rd hit. Senior citizen fans, thanks to St. Elizabeth Healthcare Orthopedics, you can see the Reds take on the Brewers this coming Monday, April 30th at half price. Plus, you'll get same-day admission to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. 381-REDS or visit Reds.com. Some restrictions apply.
You know, you hear that old saying that they used to say out in the ball yards, hit them where they ain't. Well, that's what Inciarte does. You shift to the pull side, he hits it to the left. You shift over to the left side, he'll pull it to the right side. Great back control.
And he is a base stealing threat. He picked up number 8 earlier in the game tonight. There he goes. Fouled off out of play. Strike 1 on Albies. Albies, his last at bat, got his 2nd hit. And this one, a high fly ball down the line that stayed fair off the fair pole.
And really got underneath this ball. Not your typical home run drive. He hit the ball almost straight up in the air. But the key is, where did he catch the ball on the bat? Right on the fat part of the bat. He got enough of the baseball with that type of swing. The pitch was elevated already, and he just kept it going up.
Talked about last night, this young man from the same hometown as I would imagine a fellow who's going to end up in the Hall of Fame, former Braves standout Andrew Jones in the country of Curacao.
Andrelton Simmons, same spot. Albie says that's one of the reasons he signed with the Braves, because of those two players and their experience in the Braves organization. When you have a hitter like Albie's, especially a young hitter with that much movement, wide open stance both from the right side and left side, really kicks that leg up, really moves back towards the plate. That pitch inside can really disrupt his eyesight of the outside corner. That was a predetermined set and hold by Austin Brice there. Trying to tighten up the legs a bit of Inciarte, waiting for the batter at the plate to call timeout.
Runner going, and a throw is not in time. A little bit high. If that ball is closer to the ground, they have a chance to get it.
Just a great jump by Inciarte. I mean, first movement from Brice. Just really not a great chance. You would have had to make a perfect throw, as you said, Tom, right on the bag to have gotten him there.
So the Braves have a tying run now in scoring position. 2 stolen bases tonight for Inciarte and give him 9 on the year. 2 and 1 on Albies. Work to do now for Austin Brice. Straight up in the air, should be the second out of the inning. And it is. Staying put is Inciarte, and here comes Freddie Freeman.
And that was a fastball in. Started a little bit in off the plate, came back to the corner, and it just looked like Albies is really having a tough time getting the barrel to that type of pitch. No doubt with his talent, he'll figure it out.
One more big out to go, and it's the best hitter in this Braves lineup. It's Freddie Freeman. 1 for 3 tonight. He had a line drive right at Peraza up the middle his last time up.
And he is deadly with runners in scoring position.
He sure is. In fact, the very best so far this year in all of Major League Baseball is Freddie Freeman. A 500 batter. Since the start of the 2013 season, they're just going to walk him. With runners in scoring position over the last 4 years, he's the #1 hitter in Major League Baseball with a .358 batting average. That's doing it.
That's more commonly known this day and age as high leverage hitting. Not exactly. They don't really talk like that.
No.
But you get my drift.
I get your drift. Well, really, you're picking your poison here, because this guy is a proven, established hitter. We've talked about over 2,100 hits in his Major League career. He's had an incredible series. He's been on base twice tonight.
And don't think Markakis is going to go out of the zone to chase a pitch. He is awfully patient, even in this type of situation.
Good pitch location right there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I've got to believe that Markakis here, especially with a sinker baller on the mound, he's got a wide open hole on the shortstop side. He's looking for a pitch that starts middle, and he can carry it that way. Because on the previous pitch, the ball that was down and in, he didn't even move. So that tells me if I'm on the mound, all right, he's looking away. You've got a big hole on that side. You better pitch accordingly. I mean, you hit a routine grounder to a normal shortstop position here, the game's tied.
Slow bouncer time here for Pennington, and he makes a play to end the inning.
Tried to go that way.
Nice job by Austin Bryce. 2 innings of shutout baseball behind Finnegan. Excellent work.
It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Jesse Biddle still on the mound for the Atlanta Braves. Reds bat last of the 8th inning. Cincinnati 4, Atlanta 3. Joey Votto is homered in consecutive games, his first 2 home runs on the year. He's been on base 3 times tonight, a single to left, a walk, and a 2-run home run to get the Reds on the board in the 5th. They would tack on 2 more later in the same inning, a 4-run 5th inning to come back from a 3-0 hole.
Home run last night, very similar to the home run tonight, right over that 379 sign, just over, shading towards left center field.
Shortstop. Throw at Votto for the first out here in the 7th inning.
It's a pretty good shift right there.
Now Scooter Gennett will settle in. Quiet night after a big night last night for Gennett, where he had a couple of home runs and also had a suicide squeeze to drive in a run. 4 RBI night tonight. 0 for 3 for Scooter. Following each and every Reds game here on Fox Sports Ohio. Stick around for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We'll break it all down. Interviews from a clubhouse. That's immediately following tonight's game. That ball driven into left center field, hit very well, and it's up against the wall. Coming into second base is Gennett, and very close. Boy, I tell you, NCarte, he is some kind of defender out there in center field. We see Hamilton here, we get spoiled, but this is a guy who's won the Gold Glove the last 2 years as a center fielder.
He has taken 2 balls now in a park that he does not play in hardly ever, and played them to perfection.
Yep, you're right.
Off the wall, got it, bullet throw back in. Should have had Duvall at the plate and almost got Jeanette there. He's got an awfully strong and accurate arm and plays awfully smart out there in center field.
He's a nice player. He's a really nice player. That was talked about that trade before with the Arizona Diamondbacks, where Shelby Miller was the primary player going from Atlanta to Phoenix, and he's still recovering from Tommy John surgery. We talked a couple of nights ago, but man, they got Dansby Swanson and NCarte in that deal.
Well, the only way that the Diamondbacks are ever going to look any way half decent is for the kid Shelby Miller to come back and pitch good baseball.
And he's still a young guy. He's 27, 28, somewhere in that neighborhood. He's got a chance. Most guys are coming back from Tommy John these days. Some better than ever.
Yes.
And a big factor in that is right here in Dr. Timothy Krimchek, among the very best, one of the, if not the best, considered to be the Tommy John surgeon in the country. James Andrews gets a lot of pub, but Dr. Krimchek is right there with him in a neck-and-neck race.
Dr. Krimchek has taken care of me since I was here playing in a Reds uniform, and now just talking about guys playing in a Reds uniform. He's still taking care of me.
I mean, guys come from all over the place. Here's a rocket and misplayed by Swanson. Everybody is safe. That ball was hit so sharply by Schebler. And the Reds have the bases loaded with 1 out here in the 7th inning.
You know you hit it hard when you see a shortstop like Swanson, a great glove man, put out a little ole. He could have gotten in front of that ball with one more step. I believe he could hear it sizzle coming over the top of the mound.
And it was sizzling. Pitching coach Chuck Hernandez will come out for a visit. Well, tomorrow's a big day, and it's the first time ever the NFL Draft is live on Fox. Join the Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman along with Joel Klatt in Dallas for all the big picks tomorrow at 7 p.m. live on Fox and the NFL Network. And has scored a base hit for Schebler. Bases are loaded for Tucker Barnhart. Tucker is 1 for 3 at a broken bat RBI double down the right field line to give the Reds his 4-3 lead his last time up. Breaking ball snaps in there from Biddle, a strike. Slow roller pulled foul, and
I got to tell you, Tom, I'm awfully impressed with what Schebler has been able to do, missing the amount of time that he did and come back and stinging the ball the way that he is now. His thought process of that left center field has really helped him, not only against right-handers, but he hits left-handers like he knows what's coming.
You know, we really started to see some signs of that periodically at the end of last year, but then in spring training this year, I mean, he was hitting everything with authority, and it was primarily into center and the left center field. Now you leave one on the inner part of the plate, he's going to kill it. But it's a strong kid, man. He's a talented player. And obviously a smart player. Trying to make adjustments that you're talking about. Biddle wanted that call, didn't get it. That would have been a strike in the last 2 games. They were calling more, especially Monday night.
Taller umpires call higher strikes. I can remember coming back after every ball game when I was playing, writing down exactly what I perceived the strike zone to be from a pitcher standpoint, not a hitter standpoint. If your zone was big, you were great. If it was tight, hitters loved you, I hated you. But there becomes some consistency over a period of time, and when it gets down to crunch time like this, you know what kind of pitch you can make.
Well, that time the high strike is called on a breaking ball. And that's strike 3 to Tucker Barnhart, and Jim Riggleman trying to tell Tucker, hey, I need you in the game. Get back here. His only other catcher on this roster couldn't play last night because he has a stiff neck.
Well, Suzuki helped Bill a little bit by softening the glove and kind of dropping a little bit as the ball came into the hit zone. Well, let's see if Billy Hamilton can come up with something big here.
Billy Hamilton coming up there to bat for Austin Bryce. Great job by Bryce. Only way to describe it. 2 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball in a 1-run lead. Hamilton a check swing, and did he go? He did. He's behind 0-2. Reds with the bases loaded for the 2nd time tonight. They had them loaded in the 1st inning with nobody out and did not score, but they scored 4 to take the lead in the 5th, trying to add on as that fastball misses outside to Billy Hamilton. Struck him out swinging. That'll end the inning. Couple of hits, 3 men left. Reds are stranded 10 in the game, and they lead by a run. Brendan Finnegan in the 1st, the 3rd, and this solo home run by Albies in the 5th inning for a 3-0 lead. But then the Reds on a comeback trail in the 5th. A leadoff walk to Winker. 2nd straight night, Joey Votto with a home run. This one with a man aboard to make it a 1-run game. After a 2-out walk to Duvall, the biggest play of the game was this drive by Schebler into left center. Perfect cutoff throw. Perfect throw to the plate. Ball beats Duvall by 10 feet. But the catcher, Perez, never applies a tag in time. Call was out of the plate. It was overturned. That tied the game. And then Tucker Barnhart A broken bat flared down the right field line to drive in the go-ahead run. And that's where we stand with Atlanta coming to bat here in the 8th. 4-3 Reds. 4-12-110. 3-8-0-7. And what a spot to walk back into the major leagues after being activated from the disabled list yesterday for Kevin Shackelford. Been on the DL going all the way back to prior to opening day with a right forearm strain. Made 4 rehab appearances for Pensacola and Louisville. In 4 1/3 innings, he walked 5, gave up 3 hits and 3 runs. Those are his numbers from last year. Billy Hamilton remains in the game to play center field, so the night is over for Schebler. And it's 2 balls and a strike to Johan Camargo. What do you think of young Mr. Shackelford here, Cowboy?
I like him. I think he has a great demeanor on the mound. I think he still has a bit of work to do as far as consistency within the strike zone. He's got great stuff, great breaking ball, a great fastball with some life to it. He can pitch up in the zone. I think it's just a matter of repetition, getting him on a big league mound over and over again. I think what we saw last year towards the end of the year is really the Kevin Shackelford that I think the Reds will get. But sometimes when you're on the DL, you come back, you're pitching in a game like today, you feel like you have to reprove yourself. That doesn't play. You just go out and make pitch after pitch after pitch.
Pulled down the right field line towards the corner and bending foul.
The thing about Shackelford is his breaking ball does not have that big sweeping action. It comes right off the plane of the fastball and drops straight down. You'll get swings that just look absolutely horrendous from hitters at the plate because they're trying to catch up with that high heater.
Straight up in the air, should be the first out of the inning. Lakers waiting, 1 out. So the first out recorded by Shackelford in the big leagues this season. And now he'll face Acuna Jr. making his major league debut here tonight. The #1 ranked prospect among all teams, minor league players, in 2017. Was off to a slow start this year, and you see that happen a lot where you have a big huge prospect, they come to their first big league camp, they play well, but then they're sent to the minor leagues. Saw a little bit of that with Nick Senzel, and now he's starting to hit. But it gives you an idea of just how young. I mean, Senzel's a young guy, but he was a college guy and played college baseball for 3 years. It's his 2nd year as a pro. This guy is barely out of his teenage years. Single A, double A, triple A last year. 21 home runs, 82 RBIs, and oh, by the way, 44 stolen bases. I mean, this is, you know, this is potential of 30, 30, 40, 40 kind of stuff here. We'll see how it plays out as a big leaguer, of course.
Cream of the crop as far as physical talent. But I'm sure the Braves would love for him to get off to some semblance of a good start so that the mental issue for him does not become a problem.
Ground ball up through the middle, and that's his first major league hit. Congratulations to young Mr. Ronald Acuna Jr., his first major league hit, comes here in Cincinnati, Ohio on this April the 25th, 2018. In the 8th inning.
Always nice to get that one out of the way. Will he run?
Well, we know he can run.
Exactly. Well, you just threw out the stolen base numbers. He has great speed. You're at the bottom of the order. I think if you're Brian Snitker, you might take that chance. You've only got a couple of swings here.
Dansby Swanson, the batter, behind a strike. Shackelford works out of the stretch with one out here in the 8th inning. And he missed with that one low.
Preston Tucker, who started the first couple of ball games, has moved out into the on-deck circle, and he is a left-handed batter.
And the Reds don't have it in their bullpen right now. No one up. That one scalded foul. Swanson jumping all over that pitch, a 94-mile-per-hour fastball.
Now, those were the types of swings that we saw a lot from Swanson last year. A pitch that was a very hittable pitch, but he was early, hit it hard, it looked great, but it's just a strike. It's one of the reasons the Braves have worked so hard on trying to get this kid to think right center field, slow down just a little bit so the ball that he hooks down the left field line stays fair, not foul.
Built up a swing there and made contact to stay alive. Remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. We are in the 8th inning.
See, to me, when you see a hitter squat as Swanson did there and a very tentative swing, I got to see that pitch again. You don't try to make it any better if you're Kevin Shackelford. You just try to make another pitch the same type, get it on the outside part of the plate, and that's what Tucker wants here.
And Swanson doesn't take the bait this time.
Well, that's the difference between a pitch that starts in the strike zone and a pitch that starts underneath the strike zone. This pitch starts in the hit zone, starts on the plate. Check this pitch out. Never starts on the plate. All you're trying to get with a breaking ball is a commitment, but you have to start it in the zone and get it out.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Swanson with a tying run at first base. And another foul ball off out of play.
Curveball action on the breaking ball from Shackelford, but slider speed. Most curveballs are 78, 80 miles an hour with that straight drop down. His is 87 to 90. This is an overthrow pitch. Barnhart quickly snaps it back because the pitch carried his momentum towards the first base bag.
Well, 3-2. You got to believe Acuna Jr. is running here. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And there he goes. And a base hit in the left field. Acuna Jr. is going to make the turn and come to third. And he is in there easily. That's why you start the run at 3-2. Goes first to third on a single into left field. And here comes Atlanta again late in the ball game. That has been the Braves' MO the early part of this young season.
And that ball was hit hard. Normally, you're not able to take third base on that kind of pitch, but look at this kid's speed. I mean, even if the throw's right on the money, you got no chance to get him.
All right, so runners on the corners. That's a tying run at third. And batting for the first time, pinch hitting is Preston Tucker. Tucker has a whopping 18 runs batted in this season, among the most in all of baseball.
3 3-run homers.
Beat with a fastball there. He started each of the first 2 games. He had 1 hit in 6 at bats last night. He went 1 for 4 in the series opener.
But this kid Tucker is a breaking ball hitter. Slider speed bat. That's why he was so late on the fastball there. A fastball in the upper quadrant he can't catch up to.
Straight up in the air.
There it is right there.
And over by the dugout and off the top of it to get ahead 0-2.
A lot of times, Tom, you'll see hitters hold their hands down below the pecs. Very difficult to raise the hands up and get to that pitch that's at the top of the strike zone. And those are pitches that are being called strikes now. So you've got to be able to handle or at least foul off a pitch that's in the upper quadrant. This kid likes the ball down. You rush the ball up, you've got a chance for a strikeout here.
Tried the fastball up, but too far up. Strikes, a count on Tucker, tying run at third, lead run at first. We're in the 8th inning, 1 out. Tried the fastball up again, and again Tucker does not chase it.
Well, Barnhart has been behind the plate with Tucker the last 2 nights. He knows he has difficulty with that pitch. The issue is you've got to have execution from Kevin Shackelford.
Got him on a strikeout, and that's a big one for Shackelford as a bottom fell out of that pitch. 2 away in the inning.
That's the pitch I was talking about, Tom. It looks like it's down and in. You've got a low ball hitter at the plate. Looks like a fastball down and in, and it just keeps going down.
Boy, and a great block there again by Barnhart. I mean, it's one thing to get the swing and a miss, but how many times have you seen that ball right through the wickets? And then all of a sudden the bases are loaded, or it's first and second and a run scores from third.
Great ability there for Shackelford, changing the eye level upstairs a couple of times and then comes down with that breaking ball.
Here's Suzuki. One more big out to go for Shackelford, and spins him away from an inside fastball. Base hit center field. 2-out single by Suzuki ties the game. 4-4.
Great piece of hitting by Suzuki there. He got on top of that baseball. Pitch was up, but it was out over the plate. And you can see him really get his hands on top of that ball and drive it right back up the middle.
So that takes a starter Whistler off the hook for Atlanta. It also deprives Brandon Finnegan of a chance to get a win here tonight. Shackelford has allowed 3 hits in this inning and the game tying run. It's been extraordinary what the Braves have been able to do. It truly is a never quit bunch. They rallied from a 4-run 9th inning deficit last night to send the game to extra innings. The 3rd time this year they've rallied in the 9th inning. Jeanette handles the one-hopper. Reds are back in the bottom of the 8th in a 4-4 game. Braves tied up in the inning.
Game for the Reds this season. It's Reds Live, the pregame show presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow in the series finale, game 4 for the Reds and Braves. Homer Bailey, Sean Newcomb. Reds Live comes your way at high noon from Great American Ballpark tomorrow, and hopefully another sunny afternoon in downtown Cincinnati for game 4 of this series, guys.
All righty, Brian, thank you very much. Dan Winkler takes over on the mound for the Atlanta Braves in his 4-4 game here in the 8th. Pennington to lead things off. Then back to the top of the order we go. Winker and Peraza. Biddle gives him 2 solid innings. He goes 2 shutout innings of 3-hit baseball. He walked the batter intentionally, struck out 2. And there's the first out in the inning. So now Winkler against Winker. And of course Jim Day did that piece last week. People have been calling Winker Winkler for many years. And on the first pitch of the at bat, he grounds out to the shortstop, and just like that, Winkler is coming to the game, thrown 3 pitches, and he has 2 outs. We rarely see Winker
swing at the first pitch.
Yeah, I mean, especially when a guy just comes into a game. But he's had a good night tonight. He has 2 hits, a walk, and has scored a run. Now Peraza 1 hit and 4 at bats for Jose. His single came in his very first at bat of the night. Like to give Votto a chance here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Somebody needs to get on, and that somebody would be Jose Peraza. And it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Winkler. Boy, he made that look easy. Grand total of 7 pitches. Wow. A week from Friday, May the 4th, celebrate by buying the Star Wars theme ticket package presented by PNC Bank. You get an exclusive Chewbacca bobblehead. This limited edition bobblehead is only available through this offer. Visit Reds.com/theme.
Does it make the sound?
That's a good question. It's a very good question. I thought they ran a lot of those things by you in the offseason before they put some of those promos together.
No, I'm
a Star Wars guy?
No.
2, 3, and 4 in the batting order. Shackelford for a second inning. He gave up the lead in the 8th.
I like Star Trek, not Star Wars.
Okay.
I like the William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy version of Star Trek.
Yes.
Of course, there's a lot of folks listening that are younger that have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's all right. They can look it up on their phones that they have in their hand right now.
That was a great show during the, late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in that time frame.
Set phasers on stun.
Well, it'll be a very popular giveaway. There's no doubt about that. They have some great theme ticket packages and some great bobbleheads to give away this year. A lot of smiling going on, those two couples. That fellow just getting that foul ball. Shackelford now is at 32 pitches coming in from the bullpen. On his minor league assignments, he threw 25, 31, 12, and 14. Dylan Floro, with that in mind, starts to throw in the Cincinnati bullpen.
Well, it's a big inning for the Reds 0-wise. I understand it's late in the ball game in the ninth, If you can put a 0 on the board with the batters that are coming to the plate 2, 3, and 4, you've got your hammers coming to the plate in the bottom of the ninth. Oh, Billy.
Albies drilled with a fastball at 92 miles per hour, so he's aboard to start the Atlanta ninth inning.
Looked like he caught him on the pad.
Of course, whenever you wear a pad, it doesn't matter what the sport is, you're guaranteed that whatever ball or hit you're going to take, it's going to miss the pad.
Well, I had a theory when I was pitching, and this might not be a great theory to throw out there, but I'm going to do it anyway. Craig Biggio used to wear body armor on that left arm from the wrist all the way up to the shoulder. And if you threw the ball inside at the chest or at his hands, he just stuck his elbow out there and ran down to first. So after the first time of doing that, I just decided, well, if you're going to stick your elbow out there, then I'm just going to raise the ball a little bit higher, because you will not stick your helmet in front of the baseball. Even though you have on a helmet, it's self-preservation. It's just human reaction. So from then on, when Biggio came to the plate, if I got 2 strikes, he was going to get a throat cutter. You're not going to put your elbow up there to cover your face.
Right. This ball is smoked. I am stunned Albies did not try to go to third, but with nobody out, perhaps that's a primary reason why.
And not only that, but the arm of Billy Hamilton and the accuracy of the throw obviously is in the scouting report. There are certain guys you run on, certain guys you do not.
And you see Hamilton's getting to the ball right about the time he hits a bag. So with nobody out especially, and knowing Billy all the outfield assist he had last year. Here comes Jim Riggleman. We're going to get a pitching change.
And may have a double switch here.
Yes, we are. We're going to have Goslin.
Goslin is coming in for Peraza. Pennington will move to short. Goslin will play third base.
And Floro will be the new pitcher. So we'll take a break in the action. Our Skyline Chili call to the pen. 2 on, nobody out. In a 4-4 game, Atlanta batting in the ninth. Goslin comes into game, part of a double switch. He'll go to third, pushing Pennington from third to short. Peraza out. And now on the pitch. Boy, did this guy throw the ball well over the weekend. Friday in St. Louis, 3 scoreless innings. The longest scoreless outing of his major league career for Dylan Floro.
Well, this may be the biggest outing that he's pitched in yet. You pitch well, all of a sudden the manager starts to get a little confidence in you, puts you in a ball game where it counts. You're in a tough spot here.
First and second base with nobody out. A 4-4 game. Top of the ninth inning, and the batter is Nick Markakis. Fastball, belt high, a strike.
Well, we have not seen that call many times tonight, and you could see Markakis jerk that head back right at the top of the strike zone. A fastball. Markakis looked right back at home plate umpire Dylan Colbert, as if to say, you haven't called that all night. It's the ninth inning.
Markakis has walked. He has singled 1 for 3 in the game, but he has had a monster 3-game series. There's no two ways about that. Was on base 4 times last night. A double, a single, 2 walks, scored a run. He had 2 hits, drove in 3, including a 3-run home run here Monday night. 3 home runs, 14 knocked in. An on-base percentage of well over 400 for Markakis. And that's outside, 2-1.
You get ahead with strike 1. You don't want to dance too much and lose the advantage in the count, especially to a hitter like Markakis, who is awfully patient.
Nice pickup by Goslin. They try and turn it over, and the runner's out at first base. I think the Braves are going to review this. Boy, Studer really turned that thing over there.
That was not a double play ball as it came off the bat. Goslin got rid of it quickly. It was a chest-high throw to Jeanette, and he snap-throwed it to first. But I think they're going to review it. I don't know they got him at first. And they did.
Yeah, clearly safe is going to be the call at first. This will be overturned.
But still, fundamentally, you couldn't ask for a better play from Goslin, especially coming right off the bench, cold as ice. And you turn and you fire a perfect strike to your second baseman. Jeanette did exactly what he needed to do. Got a strong throw. Just great hustle by Markakis.
Now Jim Riggleman will come trotting out of the dugout to meet with everybody in his infield along with a battery.
Well, the Reds put on a squeeze with a left-handed batter at the plate. Last night, Scooter Jeanette executed the squeeze to perfection. And maybe that had something to do with the conversation as Jim Riggleman goes to the mound here.
All right, so Johan Camargo, the batter, he was one of the heroes, drawing a bases-loaded walk against Raisel Iglesias in the 4-run ninth inning last night. Here comes a pitch from Floro, and it's a strike knee-high on the outside corner. I think that Camargo thought that was a bit low.
Well, that pitch has been a strike all night. That little 3-incher off the outside corner. And these are the times that you have to pay attention to the strike zone of the umpire.
Camargo, we mentioned earlier, is a guy who strikes out a lot. And he puts down the bunt, and it will roll foul. They put on the squeeze. So we were talking about, you were talking about Cowboy there a moment ago, and you know, really he didn't need to be so fine. Just get it on the ground and it's over.
A squeeze bunt is not made to get you to first base. It's made to get the ball into fair territory. You're relying on the break of the runner at third base to score. He tried to make too good of a bunt and messed it up.
You could almost bunt it right at the pitcher. With that runner coming down the line, they're never going to throw him out.
In a squeeze bunt situation, because of the break that the runner gets from third, all you can do, you're better off bunting it right at the pitcher.
Well, the Reds get a break. Camargo only 2 sacrifices in his entire career. But you could just tell that his form, he knew what he was doing. I mean, he looked very comfortable up there as a guy who can bunt, but he just, I mean, in that situation, he's not thinking about what kind of bunt, clearly.
Tried to drag bunt rather than sacrifice.
And a bouncing ball that'll get in the run. They had no chance anyway. Made into left field. That's the problem, is both runners advance an extra base. There was no chance to get it out anywhere there for Pennington. And the Braves have taken a 5-4 lead. That'll be scored a double and an RBI. An infield double.
The ball still probably needs to be fielded rather than caromed down the left field line.
Sure.
But on a ball like that, your mind and your time clock has to click. Okay, I'm not getting the runner at home, so I don't have to be quick. I just need to get an out.
Now Ronald Acuna Jr. got his first major league hit in the 8th inning and scored his first major league run, and it was a tying run in this game on a 2-out single by Kurt Suzuki off Kevin Shackelford. Shackelford now is the pitcher of record for the Reds. I would imagine the Braves have their closer Vizcaíno getting loose in the bullpen. Nope. Maybe they just go with Winkler tonight. Vizcaíno worked an inning last night, a perfect inning. And the Braves were rained out on Sunday. Vizcaíno did not pitch here on Monday night.
Well, let's remember Winkler only threw 6-7 pitches in that 8th inning.
Strikeout right there for Floro, second out of the inning. And you can see all Acuna's thinking about is hitting one to New Richmond.
Well, I mentioned that earlier. Got a young player trying to do something really, really big in his first game. If you're on the mound as a veteran pitcher, you just keep it. You start it on the plate and get it off and let him get himself out.
So now the batter is Dansby Swanson. Runners at second and third. Braves have scored a tying run in the 8th and the go-ahead run here in the 9th. Reds will have Votto, Jeanette, Duvall 2 up. Slow roller down to third, and Goslin throws out Swanson.
Nice job.
2 in the inning. So here we go. Votto, Jeanette, Duvall. Can the Reds win it in their final at bat for a second straight night? Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. All right, the Braves will go to their bullpen. This is perhaps their closer in waiting, if you will, and A.J. Minter, although he'll start this inning with a chance to get a save. He'll face a left-handed batting Joey Votto. First pitch swinging in the air, and this will be the first out, and that's a big out for Minter. One away.
Go back to that 7th inning for the Reds. Boy, did they have a golden opportunity with 1 out, bases loaded, with the strikeout of Barnhart and then of Billy Hamilton. Just couldn't get a run across.
Minter has not had a save since 2016, and he has been used exclusively as a reliever in the Braves minor league system. Now, bear in mind, he signed late in 16, so he didn't pitch a lot of baseball. Last year, he went through 5 levels of their organization, if you can believe that. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen that in a single player in my life, where a guy played at 5 different levels, including the big leagues, in 1 year. He went from Florida, pitched in 1 game in Rome. They moved him to AA Mississippi for 3 games, 17 games in Gwinnett, their AAA team, and then 16 games with a major league club. Astounding. 2-0 to Gwinnett. 2 balls and a strike. So he's never had a major league save, and his only 2 professional saves were with Rome, the first team he pitched for, after signing in 2016 as a competitive balance B round pick, the 75th overall out of Texas A&M. Ever seen a guy go 5 levels?
I have not, but I have no problem moving a major college pitcher quickly if he is a strike thrower and he's not intimidated. And this kid does not seem to be intimidated. He's got great stuff, and he is a strike thrower.
I tell you, when he came in a game the other night, we did not have a lot of time because he came in quickly to really look at his bio. We know that he's the guy they're thinking about as their closer and waiting as he fans Gwinnett. First 2 outs here in the 9th. But you know, you just think about organizationally here real quick, and I know there's still 1 more batter to go in a 1-run game, but last year, when you consider that in 2 of the stops that he made last year, check that, 3. In 3 of the stops he made last year, he pitched 5 games or fewer. 5 games in the first stop, 1 game in the second stop, 3 games in the third stop, and then he's sitting in AAA. That's incredible. Swing and a miss by Duvall. 9 games pitched in 3 different levels before you finally get to AAA. I've never heard of that in my life.
Show confidence, be aggressive, make pitches within the strike zone with more than just a fastball. You will move quick. And this kid just delivered a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from the left side.
Right now we know Duvall, he's off to a slow start this year. There's no 2 ways about that, but we know there's plenty of thunder in that bat. Game-tying thunder. One ball, 1 strike on Adam Duvall, and the left-hander cuts it loose. Oh, he had a good swing there. It's a 96-mile-per-hour fastball.
Bad a pitch to hit. Middle away, but it caught plenty of plate.
That ball's maybe a foot more inside. We could be tied.
Well, his barrel was on the ball. He was just a bit under it.
1 2 on Adam Duvall. A lot of Braves fans here tonight. Tried the breaking ball, and the count is even. Reds were 6 outs away from a 3rd straight win in this series. But Shackelford put into a 1-run game, his first game in the big leagues this year, coming back from injury. Allowed the tying run in the 8th, go-ahead run in the 9th. Now hoping Duvall can run into one to tie it at 5. 2-2 pitch. Straightaway center field. Drifting back is Inciarte and catches the ball basket style in front of the wall. Boy, if you didn't know any better, he was hazing the crowd here with that catch, but you know he's not.
He was trying to prepare to jump because of this ballpark, and instead of having to jump, he just drops the glove at the waist.
This will be our Hold True moment, brought to you by Miller Lite. It's going to be that catch. I mean, everybody was holding their breath. And he catches the ball rather than having to leap into the air right up against his chest.
Well, you could see him preparing to get that foot up on the wall. And Minter is thinking to himself, he's got to go over the wall to get. Oh, no, he doesn't.
Thought Duvall had caught it. All right, 2-game win streak is over. Braves win their first time in this series. And a final count tonight here at Great American Ballpark as the Braves rally again. Boy, they've been doing that regularly to teams this year. Reds Live is after the break with Brian Giesenslaw. We're back in a moment.